Hello, and welcome to Agile Cheetah. I'm Frank Velasquez. I explain Agile and DevOps concepts so you can successfully apply them within your team or across your organization. If you want to improve how your organization develops software, manages software systems development, or fosters organizational agility, you've come to the right place. Sounds like what you're looking for? Then please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. If you work in systems integration projects, you have likely wondered how to manage project risk within your organization's chosen Agile approach. This is a topic seldom discussed in certification courses for Agile-based approaches, such as Scrum. The two major reasons for this are, most of these courses focus exclusively on team-level Agile. In other words, how does a small team of individual contributors work together under the Agile approach? Individual small teams tend to work on smaller efforts that require much less coordination. In most of these situations, formalized risk management is overkill. Managing risk is baked into Agile because Agile is an inherently empirical way of working. Since Agile development is iterative and incremental, teams narrow the scope of what they build to fit within short timeframes. This enables them to quickly and frequently build, test, fix, deploy, evaluate, and change what they build and how. Every iteration of value delivery brings multiple opportunities to address risk in real time. In other words, Agile spreads risk management across the entire development effort. However, system integration projects are typically large and complex, with multiple teams working across organizations while managing multiple dependencies. The larger the project, the more risk project sponsors and stakeholders assume. A formalized approach to risk management becomes a priority. So what does a formalized Agile risk management approach look like? It looks a lot like a traditional risk management approach with three main differences. Agile risk management is more adaptive than predictive. Agile projects perform risk management activities more frequently and faster than traditional projects. And risk management activities in Agile projects are much more coupled to project execution than in traditional projects. Before describing a formalized Agile risk management approach, let's level set understanding about project risk management. The third edition of the project management body of knowledge defines risks as an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on the project's objectives. By that definition, risks are not just harbingers of negative outcomes. They may also be opportunities to affect positive outcomes. Once a negative risk becomes a reality, it becomes an issue. Categorizing project risk is helpful. Doing so facilitates risk tracking across the entire project scope. It also communicates that risk management is everyone's job, not just that of project management. I'll go over a list of typical project risk categories and explain them. Technical risks are the type that first come to mind when planning and executing a technical project. They are risks associated with the architectural, design, and technological approaches implemented by development teams. Examples of such risks include requirements. Are we identifying real needs? Are we missing important requirements? Have requirements changed? Technology. Is the chosen technology stack capable of supporting requirements? Would choosing a different set of technologies afford opportunities for faster development, easier maintainability, etc.? Interfaces. Are external interfaces subject to change? Performance. Will system performance meet customer and end user demand? Quality. Does the solution deliver expected value at expected levels of performance, cost effectively, and in time to be valuable? External risks are associated with events outside the scope of the project, program, or sponsor organization that may impact project execution. Examples include customer decisions or changes to requirements, contractual agreements, market conditions, and supplier performance issues. Organizational risks arise from the way the sponsor organization operates. The more aligned organizational processes are with supporting systems development, the better. Examples include, how well does the organization manage project and technical integration points across dependencies? Do logistical processes adequately support solution development? How well does the organization manage competing priorities and resource allocation issues across multiple projects? Are budgeting processes aligned with the chosen software development approach? For example, Agile versus Waterfall? Project management risks involve how project managers plan, schedule, estimate, and control projects, as well as how communication happens internally and to external partners. As I'll explain further, a key linkage between the chosen project management approach and risk management is whether project planning is primarily predictive or adaptive in nature. Risks belonging to external, organizational, and project management categories are typically closely aligned to high-level project concerns outside the control of development teams, less dynamic and fluid than technical risks, and almost exclusively in the realm of project and program management and or product management. Much of Agile literature and training narrowly focus on technical risks. This aligns with their focus on Agile execution by small teams. However, external, organizational, and project management risks often impact projects far more. Both traditional and Agile projects execute the activities of the risk management cycle. The risk management cycle depicts the activities project managers perform to identify, evaluate, handle, and control project risks before they become issues and take advantage of opportunities while they're still available. Risk identification. The cycle starts with identification of risks and opportunities and their sources. Planners gather information about potential risks and opportunities to properly characterize them. Risk evaluation. Risk evaluation involves determining what the relative impact and probability of occurrence are for both risks and opportunities. Planners also identify expected trigger events or conditions that indicate risks have become issues to address as opposed to risks to manage. Risk handling. Next, planners determine how they will handle risks and opportunities they identified. This includes adding risk management tasks to project schedules and work backlogs to ensure teams address risks and opportunities. Risk controlling. Project management controls risks and opportunities by monitoring them, evaluating how well they are managed, and making their status known to relevant stakeholders so they can take appropriate actions. Risk management is an important part of project planning. Traditional project management engages in predictive planning, while Agile performs adaptive planning. The chosen planning approach affects how projects manage risk. Traditional project management tries to account for all project tasks and milestones up front. Agile planning breaks up the planning horizon into increments. These increments facilitate changing plans when circumstances change. To be effective, a project's risk management approach must align to the chosen project management approach. A predictive risk management approach emphasizes risk forecasting, prediction, and analysis. Risk analysis entails determining the probability of occurrence and expected project impact of individual risks. The rationale is that the earlier project managers identify and prioritize project risks, the sooner they can address them before they become issues. An adaptive risk management approach emphasizes keeping risks small by defining, developing, and delivering system functionality iteratively and incrementally. This allows teams to handle risks while their potential for project impact is small and to continually monitor risks as solutions evolve and grow. I'll now discuss the key differences between how traditional and Agile projects manage risk. Traditional projects develop and execute detailed plans that span the entire project timeline. Project management often breaks up larger projects into planning packages as part of rolling wave planning, but each of those planning packages are themselves detailed plans. Project plans are based on the resources needed to complete the entire scope of deliverables at a certain cost. Project plans start with requirements definition. The entire set of approved requirements defines project scope. Changes to requirements mean changes to project scope, which translate into schedule and cost changes. Similarly, traditional risk management tries to identify and evaluate project risks and opportunities prior to or at the start of projects. While risk management is supposed to happen throughout a project's timeline, traditional projects tend to perform the bulk of risk identification and evaluation up front. The problem with that arrangement is that we can't predict the future. The larger and more complex the project, the more likely project requirements and risks will change. Traditional project management develops and executes plans assuming requirements and the design approaches that implement them are inherently correct and will not change. This opens projects to the greatest risk of all, building the wrong thing. Risk identification and evaluation activities in traditional projects often cannot keep up with the accelerated pace of modern software development. In many organizations, risk management is relegated to weekly or monthly risk management boards. By the time a board adjudicates a risk, it may already be an issue. While some degree of upfront risk identification and evaluation happens in agile projects, the planning horizon is typically far shorter than that of traditional projects. Also, most risk identification and evaluation of technical risk happen as part of development rather than resulting from a separate risk management process. Traditional or waterfall projects typically get one pass through the software development lifecycle, or SDLC. The pass is strictly constrained by schedule, resources, and cost. As a result, there is often little room to add risk management activities to the schedule. Project managers and developers are incentivized to deliver according to plan. This puts pressure on them to ignore risks until they become issues. They also forego opportunities in favor of flying the plan. The Agile SDLC is fast-moving and iterative. Every feature software development teams deliver goes through its own mini SDLC. Agile planning, coupled with DevOps automation, supports this. Agile provides frequent opportunities to evaluate what development teams build and how. Adaptive planning allows sponsors, stakeholders, and development teams to change requirements, plans, and approaches. Teams add risks to their work backlogs and prioritize them, thus integrating risk handling actions into team workflows. Shorter development timeframes with frequent deliveries/releases provide more frequent and earlier warning of emerging risks, and more feedback from which to gauge the effectiveness of risk management efforts. The Agile SDLC improves management of technical risks. However, as stated earlier, external, organizational, and project management risks often impact projects far more than technical risks. Agile teams have the flexibility to manage technical scope. They have far less control over funding and major project milestones. External, organizational, and project management risks influence the overall business or mission context within which teams develop solutions. Project leadership must actively manage these risks before they impact the work of development teams. Agile projects should leverage traditional risk management tools and techniques to manage more strategic, slower-moving risks. Project leaders would then work with development teams to translate such risks into actionable work items and prioritize them. All project members should have access to risk management reporting and the ability to submit risk candidates as part of their work. Too often, risk management gets short shrift, especially in agile projects. Risk management is an integral part of project planning, regardless of the software development approach employed. Combining agile requirements definition and planning with DevOps automation and a robust risk management process helps teams deliver valuable software capabilities cost-effectively and in time to be valuable. That's it for this video. I want to hear from your experiences. Has your team or organization struggled with risk management? If so, what were the issues? Do you have tips on how to better manage risks in agile projects? Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Want to learn more? Then head to the Agile Cheetah website at agilecheetah.com for in-depth research articles on all things Agile and DevOps. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Again, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please click on the like icon, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell notification icon to ensure you won't miss anything. Thank you. Until next time, this has been Frank Velasquez for Agile Cheetah.